The rain hammered the roof like fists demanding entry, but it was Emma's breath, shallow and ragged in the pitch black, that shattered the fragile peace of my childhood bedroom. I'd known her since we were 6, building forts from couch cushions and sharing secrets under starry skies in our sleepy Ohio suburb, yet tonight, at 27, her nearness felt like a live wire humming against my skin. "Alana," she murmured, her voice a fragile thread in the storm, "I've loved you since the day you pushed me on that swing and promised we'd never grow apart. God, why did I wait so long to say it?" My heart slammed against my ribs, a wild bird trapped in a cage I'd built myself over years of denial and half-hearted dates with men who never quite fit. The room smelled of rain-soaked earth seeping through the cracked window and the faint lavender of Emma's shampoo, a scent that had woven itself into every milestone of my life, from scraped knees on bike rides to tear-streaked graduations. We'd crashed here after the reunion barbecue, laughing off the awkward small talk with old classmates, but now, tangled in my queen-sized bed that still bore the faded stickers from our sleepover days, the air thickened with unspoken truths. I turned toward her silhouette, barely visible in the gloom, my fingers trembling as they hovered over her arm.
"Emma."
"What are you saying?" My voice cracked, betraying the storm inside me, one far fiercer than the one outside. She shifted closer, her knee brushing mine, igniting sparks I couldn't ignore anymore. "I'm saying that every time I watched you walk away, with those guys with your big dreams for the city, it tore me up. You're my home, Alana. Always have been." Her words hung there, heavy as the thunder rolling distant now, and in that suspended breath, the world I'd curated so carefully, stable job at the local library, polite family dinners, the illusion of normalcy, cracked wide open. I wanted to pull her in, to taste the salt of her confession on my lips, but fear coiled tight in my gut. What if this ruined us? What if loving her meant losing the only constant I'd ever known? The storm eased into a steady patter as dawn crept in, painting the walls in muted grays. We didn't sleep much after that. Emma traced lazy patterns on the quilt with her fingertip, recounting fragments of our past like talismans against the uncertainty. "Remember the summer we turned 16, sneaking out to the quarry to watch meteor showers, her head on my shoulder as we whispered about escaping this town? Or the winter after college, when she drove 3 hours from Cincinnati just to bring me soup during that flu that left me bedridden, her hand cool on my fevered forehead? Each memory was a brushstroke in a portrait I'd always seen as platonic, but now, reframed through her eyes, it glowed with hues I'd been too scared to name. By morning, the kitchen smelled of brewing coffee and sizzling bacon, my feeble attempt at normalcy as Mom bustled in from her early shift at the diner. Emma helped, her laughter light as she flipped strips in the pan, but our glances lingered too long, charged with the night's electricity. "You two look like you solved the world's problems overnight," Mom teased, her eyes crinkling with that knowing warmth she'd always had for Emma, the girl who'd been like a second daughter. If only she knew how close we were to appending everything. I forced a smile, pouring orange juice with hands that still shook faintly. "Just catching up, Mom." Emma's thinking of moving back from the city. That casual drop landed like a pebble in still water, ripples spreading. Emma's fork paused midair, her blue eyes locking on mine with a mix of hope and terror. "Moving back?" We'd joked about it last night in hushed tones, but saying it aloud made it real, a bridge from confession to possibility. The day unfolded in a haze of errands. We wandered the farmer's market downtown, fingers brushing over heirloom tomatoes and fresh-baked bread, each touch a secret Morse code. By afternoon, we were back in the car, windows down, wind whipping our hair as classic rock blasted from the speakers. "What if I did?" she asked finally, her voice barely audible over the guitar riff. "What if I came home for good?" I gripped the wheel tighter, the suburbs blurring into green fields dotted with silos, the heart of Middle America where dreams either took root or withered under scrutiny. "I'd want that," I admitted, the words tasting like freedom and fear intertwined. "But Emma, my life's here. Your job, your apartment, it's all built on chasing something bigger." She reached over, her hand warm on my thigh, a gesture so natural, yet revolutionary it stole my breath. Bigger than us? Alana, I've chased shadows in that high-rise, dating women who fade by morning. But you're the light I keep circling back to. Her vulnerability pierced me, echoing the ache I'd buried under layers of routine, nights scrolling dating apps, wondering why no one sparked like she did. We pulled into the old park where the swing set still creaked under phantom pushes, the one from our girlhood promises. The sun dipped low, gilding the leaves in gold, and we sat on the grass, backs against the chains, knees touching. "Tell me everything," I said, needing to hear it again, to let it sink into the marrow of my doubt. Emma leaned her head on my shoulder, her story spilling out like a river long dammed. The crushes she'd hidden behind tomboy bravado, the way she'd dated men to fit the mold our town expected, the quiet despair of loving me from afar while I dated safe, forgettable guys. I thought if I stayed away, it'd hurt less. But last night, in the dark, with the rain washing everything clean, I couldn't lie anymore. Tears pricked my eyes, hot and unbidden, as I turned to face her. Our foreheads touched, breaths mingling in the cooling air. "I've felt it too," I whispered, the admission a key turning in a lock I'd rusted shut. "Every time you left, it was like losing a piece of myself. But what now? Mom adores you, but this town, it's not exactly waving pride flags." She smiled, that crooked grin that had always melted my defenses. "Then we start small, one truth at a time, like this." Her lips brushed mine, soft, tentative, tasting of cherry lip balm and possibility. The world narrowed to that point of contact, fireworks blooming behind my eyelids, and for the first time, I didn't pull away. That kiss lingered in my veins like a drug as we drove home, the radio humming low with some forgotten ballad about lost loves found. Dinner was a minefield of normalcy. Mom's meatloaf, Dad's stories from the mill, Emma charming them with tales of her marketing gigs in the city. But under the table, our feet tangled, a silent alliance against the facade. Later, as the house quieted, we were treated to my room again, the bed a sanctuary now charged with intent. No storm this time, just the hush of crickets and the glow of my phone screen casting blue shadows. We talked until words failed, bodies speaking instead, hands exploring with the reverence of rediscovery, clothes shedding like old skins. Emma's skin was warmer than I'd imagined, freckles dusting her shoulders like stars we'd once wished on. "You're beautiful," I breathed against her collarbone, my voice thick with awe and the weight of years wasted. She arched into me, fingers threading through my hair, pulling me closer. "So are you, Alana. Always were." Our lovemaking was a revelation, slow at first, tentative as if testing the fragility of this new reality, then urgent, a dam breaking after decades of pressure. In her arms, I found not just release, but home. The curve of her hip fitting mine, the rhythm of her pulse syncing with my own, the quiet gasps that said more than any confession could. Morning brought sunlight slicing through blinds, and with it, the first real test. My phone buzzed relentlessly. Text from Sarah, my on-again off-again boyfriend from high school, the one I'd kept around for appearances. "Missed you last night. Dinner tonight." The words blurred as guilt twisted in my chest. Emma stirred beside me, her arm draped possessively over my waist, and I silenced the screen. "Everything okay?" she murmured, sleep-rough voice laced with concern. I nodded, but the lie tasted bitter. "Just loose ends." She propped on an elbow, eyes searching mine. "We don't have to rush, Alana. But whatever this is, it's real. Don't let fear pull you back." Her words steadied me, a lifeline in the churn. We spent the day tangled in sheets, mapping each other with lips and fingertips, laughter bubbling up between sighs, as we recalled the absurdities of our youth, the time we dyed our hair purple with Kool-Aid and blamed the neighbor's cat. But beneath the joy, shadows loomed, whispers of what came next. Emma's lease in Cincinnati ended in 2 months, my job, while steady, chafed against dreams of writing I'd shelved for security. What if we left? She proposed over takeout pizza that evening, sauce smudged on her chin like war paint. Not forever, just a fresh start. Portland, maybe. Or Austin. Somewhere that breathes a little easier. The idea ignited something fierce in me, a spark against the damp Ohio chill. Portland. Rain-slick streets, coffee shops alive with artists, a city where love like ours could unfurl without side eyes. But roots ran deep here, Mom's weary smile after double shifts, Dad's calloused hands fixing the porch swing year after year. I can't just abandon them, I said, voice small. Emma cupped my face, thumbs brushing away the doubt. It's not abandoning. It's living so fully they see it's possible too. For all of us. Her conviction wrapped around me, warm as her embrace, and in that moment, I glimpsed the humanistic core of it all. Love not as escape, but as expansion, rippling outward to heal the fractures we'd inherited. Yet drama brewed on the horizon, unbidden and sharp. That night, as we walked hand in hand under streetlights, our first public gesture, bold and trembling, a pickup truck slowed, horn blaring. Dyke alert, slurred a voice from the passenger window, laughter trailing like exhaust. My stomach dropped, old fears resurfacing in a toxic wave. Emma squeezed my hand tighter. Ignore them. They're ghosts of what we're leaving behind. But the sting lingered, a reminder that our story wasn't just ours. It tangled with the world's rough edges. The next week blurred into a fever dream of stolen moments. Mornings in my bed with coffee mugs balanced on knees. Afternoons at the library where I'd steal kisses in the stacks, her laughter echoing softly among the spines. Emma extended her stay, citing work-from-home flexibility, but we both knew it was a bridge to permanence. We cooked dinners together, her experimental stir-fries clashing hilariously with my meat and potatoes roots, and danced in the living room to vinyl records Dad had passed down, slow sways that dissolved into fervent presses against the wall. But the past clawed back. Sarah showed up unannounced one evening, eyes red-rimmed, clutching a bottle of wine like a peace offering. We need to talk, Alana. Emma was out grabbing groceries, leaving me to face the wreckage alone. Sarah's pleas tumbled out. How she'd always sensed my distance, how she wanted to try again, make it work. You're straight, right? This is just a phase. The question hung like a guillotine, slicing through the fragile peace I'd claimed. I thought of Emma's laugh, her touch that fit like a missing puzzle piece, and found my voice steady.
No, Sarah.
It's not a phase. It's me, finally seeing me. She left in tears, the door clicking shut like a chapter ending, but the echo of her hurt lingered, a humanistic ache for the collateral of truth. Emma returned to find me curled on the couch, her arms enveloping me without question. You did good, she whispered, rocking us gently. Growth hurts, but it's how we bloom. That night, we made love with a new tenderness, honoring the scars as much as the joy, her fingers tracing the tension from my shoulders, my lips mapping the freckles I'd memorized in secret. In the afterglow, tangled and sated, she spoke of futures, a shared apartment with exposed brick and bookshelves groaning under weight, weekend hikes in the Cascades, the quiet power of building a life unapologetic. Yet the thriller in our tale escalated when Mom cornered me the next morning, her diner apron still tied, flour dusting her hands from biscuits. What's going on with you and Emma? I see the way you look at each other, like you're afraid it'll vanish. My throat tightened. This was the confrontation I dreaded, the one that could fracture family ties. But Mom's eyes, lined with years of quiet endurance, held no judgment. Only a mother's intuition honed sharp. I've known since you were kids, she admitted softly. The way she'd light up around you. If it makes you happy, honey. That's all I ever wanted. Tears flowed then, mine and hers mingling in a hug that bridged generations, affirming that love's value lay not in conformity, but in the courage to claim it. Emboldened, we planned. Emma gave notice at her job. I polished my manuscript of short stories, tales of small-town hearts yearning for more. Dad grunted approval over beer in the garage, his way of saying he was proud, even if words failed him. The town buzzed with rumors, sidelong glances at the market, but we walked taller, hands linked, a quiet defiance that inspired whispers of support from unlikely corners, a librarian colleague coming out over coffee, an old classmate friending us on social, with rainbow emojis. As departure loomed, tension coiled like a spring. The night before we left for Portland, a storm, echoing that first one, rattled the windows. We lay awake, bodies entwined, fears surfacing in the dark. What if it's too hard out there? I confessed, voice muffled against her neck. What if we lose this? Emma pulled back, eyes fierce in the lightning flashes. We won't, because what we have isn't fragile, it's forged. Through swings and storms, denials and dawns. You're my everything, Alana. Her kiss sealed it, deep and devouring, a vow etched in skin. The drive west was an odyssey of sunsets bleeding into horizons, playlists of anthems for new beginnings, pit stops where we'd steal kisses in diner booths. Ohio faded in the rearview, giving way to Indiana flats, Illinois winds, the Mississippi's muddy sprawl, a metaphor for the currents carrying us forward. In motels with threadbare sheets, we'd laugh over maps and make love under flickering neons, each mile a step from fear to faith. Portland welcomed us with drizzle-kissed streets and the scent of evergreens, our tiny apartment a blank canvas overlooking the Willamette. Unpacking boxes mingled our lives, her city art prints beside my childhood books, shared closets of tangled clothes. The first weeks were a whirlwind, job hunts yielding freelance gigs for her, a writing workshop acceptance for me, brunches with queer communities that felt like coming home to a party we'd been invited to all along. But no ending is without its poignant twist. Months in, during a rooftop gathering under string lights, Emma knelt, not with a ring, but with a locket containing pressed flowers from our quarry days. "Marry me?" she asked, voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. Not legally yet, not everywhere, but in the eyes of the stars and the hearts we'd touched. "Yes," I breathed, pulling her up into a kiss that drew cheers from strangers turned friends. In that moment, the drama of our journey crystallized. From whispers in the dark to declarations under open skies, our love a testament to the human spirit's unyielding quest for connection, proving that what changes everything isn't the confession itself, but the choice to live it fully. Years later, with a novel on shelves and a daughter named after that swing-set promise, we'd return to Ohio for holidays, hands clasped across dinner tables, Mom's eyes misty with pride. The town had softened at the edges, inspired perhaps by our quiet revolution. And in the hush of our Portland nights, Emma's voice, still the one that unraveled me, would murmur, "See, we made it." Yes, we had. From one stormy night to a lifetime of dawns, our story etched in the stars. Love, once hidden, now the brightest light. The coffee shop on Burnside buzzed with the hum of lives intersecting, laptops clicking, baristas calling orders, the hiss of steam wands like sighs of contentment. Emma and I claimed our corner table, the one with the wobbly leg we steadied with a napkin, our ritual since arriving 3 months ago. Her foot hooked around my ankle under the table, a subtle anchor in the chaos of our new rhythm. "Read me the latest," she urged, chin propped on her hand, blue eyes sparkling with that unwavering belief that had pulled me across state lines. I unfolded my notebook, the pages dog-eared from late-night scribbles, and began. In the shadow of the bridge, she waited, heart a pendulum swinging between regret and resolve. As I read, the words flowed freer than ever, infused with the raw pulse of our shared secrets. Portland had unlocked something in me, a voice unapologetic, weaving tales of women loving fiercely against backdrops of rain-slicked alleys and fog-shrouded forests. Emma listened, her smiles punctuating the pauses, and when I finished, She leaned across the scarred wood to kiss me softly. That's gold, Alana. Submit it. Her encouragement was my oxygen, steadying the imposter syndrome that still whispered I'd never measure up. Our days settled into a beautiful disorder. Mornings tangled in flannel sheets, her lips tracing lazy paths down my spine before we'd tumble into the kitchen for avocado toast and black coffee. Afternoons, she'd vanish into video calls for her remote marketing consulting, emerging with triumphant grins and takeout dreams. Evenings were ours, strolls along the waterfront, hands swinging loose, stopping to feed ducks or debate the merits of food trucks versus brick-and-mortar haunts. Sex was our language of reaffirmation, sometimes playful with tickle fights dissolving into gasps, other times profound, bodies moving in sync like waves claiming shore. But beneath the idol, fissures formed, subtle at first, like cracks in pavement after freeze-thaw cycles. My writing workshop meant late nights at a community center downtown, surrounded by aspiring authors whose envy-tinged feedback sometimes left me raw. Too sentimental, one critique read, and I'd trudge home through mist, doubting the very emotions that fueled me. Emma would draw me a bath scented with eucalyptus, her hands kneading knots from my shoulders, murmuring, "They're wrong. Your heart's your strength." Yet I saw the flicker in her eyes, the unspoken worry that my dreams might eclipse us. Her own battles simmered too. A big client in Cincinnati dangled a promotion, hybrid setup that meant monthly trips back east. "It's a step up," she said one night over pad thai, chopsticks poised midair. "More money for that down payment we're eyeing." I nodded, forcing enthusiasm, but the thought of her boarding planes, slipping back into that old world, knotted my gut. "Just promise you'll hate the humidity," I teased, masking the fear that distance could erode what rain had forged. The real storm hit on a crisp October evening, leaves carpeting the sidewalks in crimson and gold. We'd planned a quiet anniversary, 6 months since the move, with candles and a playlist of songs from our road trip. But as I unlocked the door, arms laden with grocery bags, I found her on the couch, laptop glowing, face ashen. "They offered it," she said flatly, not looking up. "Full relocation bonus. Back to Ohio." The bag slipped from my fingers, apples rolling across the floor like escaped thoughts. And my voice was a whisper, the air thickening with the unsaid. Emma closed the screen, standing to face me, her posture rigid with conflict. I turned it down. For us. Relief flooded me, chased by guilt's sharp tail. "You shouldn't have." She cut me off with a fierce kiss, hands framing my face. "I chose us, Alana. Every time." We tumbled to the rug, urgency born of near loss, clothes discarded in a frenzy. Her mouth on my breast, teeth grazing just enough to elicit shudders, my nails raking down her back, marking territory in the most primal way. Afterward, spent and slick, we lay staring at the ceiling fan's lazy spin. "What if I resent you one day?" She voiced the darkness aloud, vulnerability cracking her armor. "For giving up pieces of myself?" I rolled to straddle her, searching those ocean eyes. "Then we fight for the whole. Therapy, trips apart if needed, whatever it takes. Because losing you isn't an option." Our pact sealed with tears and touches, a reminder that love's drama lay not in perfection, but in the grit to mend. Winter descended with its slate skies and relentless downpours, mirroring the internal tempests we navigated. My first story sold, to a small literary mag with a queer bent, and the validation buzzed like champagne in my veins. We celebrated at a dive bar in the Pearl District, shots of whiskey-burning paths to sloppy dances on a makeshift floor. Emma hoisted me onto her shoulders for a triumphant spin, our laughter drawing grins from patrons who'd become familiar faces. To Alana, storyteller extraordinaire, she toasted, clinking glasses with strangers who cheered like family. But success bred its shadows. Workshop peers invited me to readings, panels where spotlights highlighted my novice nerves. One night, after a particularly glowing review, I came home late, buzzing from wine and words, to find Emma asleep on the couch, takeout congealing on the counter. "Missed you," she mumbled, half awake, but the hurt in her tone sliced deep. "I'm sorry," I whispered, curling into her. "This is our dream, too." She forgave with a sleepy kiss, but the seed of imbalance sprouted, her supporting my ascent while her own ambitions simmered on back burners. Spring thawed the chill, bringing cherry blossoms and a surprise: Mom's visit. She arrived by train, suitcase bulging with Tupperware of lasagna and eyes wide at our hippie nest, as she called it. We gave her the full tour: farmers' market brunches, a hike up Forest Park where ferns unfurled like green fans. Over dinner that first night, candles flickering on mismatched plates, Mom broached the elephant. "You two. You're good for each other." Like puzzle pieces that finally clicked. Emma blushed, squeezing my hand under the table, and I felt the humanistic weight of it. Generations bridging gaps, one honest meal at a time. Yet tension peaked during a weekend getaway to the coast. Cannon Beach stretched before us, Haystack Rock a sentinel against crashing waves, the air salty and sharp. We walked barefoot in the surf, skirts hiked, shrieking at cold foam nipping toes. But as dusk fell, bonfire crackling, Emma's silence grew heavy. "I feel like I'm fading," she confessed, poking at embers with a stick. "Your world's expanding, and I'm just here." The words gutted me, flames dancing reflections of pain in her eyes. "You're my world," I insisted, pulling her close. "Without you, none of it matters." We made love on a blanket under stars, urgent and reconnecting, her legs wrapped around me, hips grinding in rhythm with the tide's roar, my tongue coaxing cries from her that mingled with gull calls. Dawn found us renewed, vowing check-ins, date nights etched in ink. Back in the city, we joined a queer book club, her marketing savvy shining in event planning, my stories finding eager ears. Balance tipped back, a dance we'd learned steps to eternally. Summer swelled with festivals, pride parades where rainbows draped streets, our faces painted with glitter hearts, marching arm in arm amid chants and cheers. One humid July eve, during a backyard barbecue with new friends, Emma pulled me aside behind the fence. "I've been thinking," she said, nervousness threading her voice. "About that locket. About forever." My pulse raced, the party's laughter a distant hum. "Ask me again." I breathed, and she did, on one knee in the grass. "Ring this time." Simple gold band etched with our initials. "Yes," echoed into the night, sealing not just us, but the messy, meaningful arc of our becoming. The ring caught sunlight like a captured spark as we navigated Portland's labyrinthine streets, a constant reminder glinting on Emma's finger. "Wait, no, mine now," slipped on during that barbecue proposal amid whoops and wine spills. We decided on a small ceremony come fall, nothing lavish. Backyard vows under maple leaves turning amber, close friends and family via video from Ohio. But planning unearthed old ghosts. Invites to Mom and Dad sparked joy, yet Emma's parents, conservative holdouts from our suburb roots, responded with a curt, "We'll pray for you," email that landed like frost on budding hopes. Emma stared at the screen in our kitchen, coffee mug forgotten, steam curling like unanswered questions. "They won't come," she said, voice flat, the hurt armored in resignation. I crossed the tiles in 2 strides, wrapping her from behind, chin on her shoulder. "Their loss. We've got a village here that sees us." She leaned into me, but the tension hummed, a low vibration against my chest. That night, we channeled it into passion, her pinning me to the counter, mouth hot on my neck, fingers delving with a desperation that bordered on catharsis. "I love you," she gasped against my skin, each thrust a defiance, my cries affirming her worth beyond blood ties. Fall painted the city in fire, and with it came the workshop's big break, an anthology invite, my story, Whispers in the Dark, slotted as the opener. The editor's email glowed on my phone. "Your voice captures the thrill of forbidden love with raw authenticity." Emma hooped, spinning me in a waltz across the living room, our feet shuffling rugs until we collapsed laughing. Book tour next, she joked, but her eyes held genuine pride, the kind that mended invisible frayings. Yet external gales gathered. A local paper profiled Portland's rising queer voices, and my face splashed across pages, drawing a troll storm online, vitriol from anonymous accounts echoing small-town sneers. Traitor to family values, one read, twisting my Ohio origins into weapons. I scrolled in bed, jaw clenched, until Emma snatched the phone. Block them. They're noise, not truth. Her protectiveness stirred something primal. I pulled her atop me, legs locking around her waist, our rhythm a rebellion. Slow grinds building to frenzy, nails scoring backs, release a roar against the digital din. Mom arrived a week before the wedding, train-weary but beaming, her hug enveloping us both on the platform. "My girls," she murmured, tears salting cheeks. Dad followed by plane, awkward in his button-down, but his gruff, proud of ya over airport coffee cracked his shell. They met our circle, fiery poets, barista allies, the book club crew who'd become kin, and marveled at the ease, the unabashed affection. "This is living," Mom confided during a walk by the river, leaves crunching underfoot. "Don't ever settle for less." Wedding eve, nerves jangled like wind chimes in a squall. Emma and I slipped away to our old beach spot, bonfire permitted under harvest moon. Waves whispered secrets as we sat knee to knee, rings glinting in firelight. "Scared?" she asked, vulnerability peeking through her bravado. "Terrified," I admitted. "That I'll wake up and this'll be a dream." She cupped my face, thumb tracing my lip. "Then dream with me forever." Our kiss deepened, hands roaming freely, her palm cupping me through denim, my teeth nipping her earlobe, until sand and salt claimed us, bodies arching under stars, ecstasy a prelude to vows. The ceremony dawned misty, our backyard transformed, fairy lights strung between branches, wildflowers in mason jars, a arch of woven vines. Guests milled, 20 souls strong, a tapestry of support, sipping cider from our co-op. Mom walked me down the aisle of scattered petals, her arm steady, Dad already teary beside Emma under the arch vows spilled from hearts unscripted. Mine, of swings and storms, how her whisper rebuilt my world. Hers, of circling lights, choosing us over shadows. Rings exchanged, a kiss that tasted of forever, soft, then searing, cheers erupting like fireworks. The reception spilled into laughter and toasts, Dad's speech stumbling into poetry about roots that stretch, not snap. We danced first, her hand warm at my waist, bodies swaying to our road trip playlist, whispers of mine breathed into ears. Later, under tables, fingers intertwined, we'd steal glances, the thrill of public claiming still electric. Honeymoon called, a cabin in the Cascades, evergreens towering like guardians. Days blurred into hikes where we'd pause to kiss against boulders, moss soft under palms. Nights in clawfoot tubs, bubbles foaming as hands explored, her fingers curling inside me, drawing moans that echoed off wood beams, my mouth worshipping her, tongue flicking until she shattered, thighs quivering. One afternoon, rain trapped us indoors, we played house, baking scones that burned, reading aloud from dog-eared novels, making love on the bearskin rug, missionary intimate, her eyes locked on mine, hips rolling in waves that crested together. Return brought reality's bite. My anthology launched to modest acclaim, readings in Seattle and Eugene where crowds hung on tales of our genesis. Emma tagged along when she could, her presence my talisman, but work pulled her east twice, client crises demanding suits and schmoozes. Phone sex bridged gaps, her voice husky over lines, guiding my hand, mine teasing descriptions until she'd gasp my name. Yet absence amplified doubts. During her second trip, a nightmare jolted me awake, her gone for good, Cincinnati lights swallowing her whole. I texted at dawn. "Come home soon. Need you." She did, bursting through the door with airport roses, sweeping me into arms that smelled of jet fuel and jasmine. "Miss this," she growled, backing me to the wall, skirt hiked, fingers plunging deep while her mouth silenced protests. We collapsed in a heap, aftershocks rippling, her forehead to mine. No more long hauls. Local clients only. Relief washed over me, but so did resolve. Equality meant her dreams too. "And mine won't eclipse yours," I promised, sealing with a kiss that vowed balance. Winter holidays tested our union's mettle. Back in Ohio for Christmas, snow blanketing the old swing set, we faced Emma's parents over turkey and tension. Their home, stiff with crucifixes and silence, crackled when Dad asked about the wedding. "A ceremony," Emma said evenly, my hand under the table her anchor. Her father's brow furrowed, Mother's lips thinned. But then, miracle of miracles, her mom reached for a photo album, flipping to yellowed pages of us as kids. "You were always thick as thieves," she said softly, a crack in the ice. No full thaw, but a beginning, humanistic in its halting grace. New Year's in Portland rang in with fireworks over the river, our rooftop kiss amid cheers, confetti tangling in hair. Resolutions? More adventures. A cross-country road trip planned, her pitching queer brands, me querying agents. Life's drama shifted from survival to savoring. Doctor visits confirming dreams of family via donor. Therapy sessions unpacking baggage. Date nights at hole-in-the-wall Ticarius, where spicy laughs led to homeward heat. One spring morning, 6 months post-vows, a plus sign on a stick halted our jog. Emma hooped, lifting me in spins down the block, neighbors clapping from porches. Pregnancy wove new threads, ultrasounds revealing our girl, nursery painted sage with murals of swings and stars. Cravings led to midnight ice cream runs, her feeding me spoonfuls between kisses. Body changes sparked tender explorations, her lips on swollen breasts, my hands guiding hers lower. Pleasure adapted, deepened. Labor came fierce under July thunder, echoing our origin storm. Hospital room a blur of contractions and her hand crushing mine. "You're a warrior," her mantra. Our daughter arrived at dawn, tiny fists waving, named Riley, after the swing set promise, forever reliable. In that first hold, Emma's tears on my shoulder, the circle closed. From childhood whispers to cradling new life, our love a legacy of courage, proving that what changes everything endures, blooming across generations in quiet, profound power. Riley's cries pierced the pre-dawn hush like a siren's call, pulling me from the depths of sleep into the warm chaos of motherhood. Emma stirred beside me, her arm flopping across my waist in instinctive solidarity, but it was I who rolled first toward the bassinet, scooping our 3-week-old miracle into arms still tender from birth. "Hey, little storm," I murmured, rocking her against my chest, the scent of milk and baby shampoo a balm against exhaustion. Emma's eyes fluttered open, blue depths softening at the sight. "My girls," she whispered, scooting closer to press a kiss to Riley's downy head, then mine lingering, a spark in the fatigue. Those early months were a symphony of survival, nights fractured by feeds and fussing, days a blur of diapers and daylight naps stolen in slivers. Portland's drizzle mirrored our rhythm, steady, unrelenting, nourishing in its persistence. Emma adapted seamlessly, her marketing freelance flexing around midnight colic sessions, crooning off-key lullabies while I pumped in the glider. We'd trade off, her taking dawn walks with Riley bundled in a sling, me catching hours of story drafts between burps. Intimacy shifted to stolen intimacies. Quick kisses over crib rails, her hand slipping under my nursing tank during rare, quiet moments, thumbs circling peaks until I'd bite back moans, Riley oblivious in dreamland. Yet joy threaded the strain. Riley's first smile, a gummy flash at Emma's rattle shake, ignited fireworks in our chests. We hosted a small naming ceremony in the park, wildflowers circling the blanket, Mom beaming via Zoom from Ohio, toasting to roots and wings. Dad sent a hand-carved mobile of swings and stars, its chimes a gentle echo of origins. Even Emma's parents mailed a card, stiff but signed with love, a fragile olive branch we cradled carefully. My writing reignited postpartum, fueled by this new lens, tales of maternal ferocity, loves that multiply rather than divide. An agent bit on my novel pitch, a queer odyssey from Midwest whispers to Pacific cradles, and revisions became my anchor, Emma reading drafts aloud during Riley's tummy time, her critiques laced with pride. "This character's you," she'd say, tapping a page, fierce and unflinching. Her own venture bloomed, a queer-owned branding firm, consulting for local nonprofits, her passion for visibility mirroring our journey. But shadows crept with the equinox. Sleep deprivation unearthed old insecurities mine. In the mirror's harsh light, stretch marks mapping battles like war scars. Emma's, in the quiet admissions of feeling sidelined, her dreams deferred for double night shifts. One evening, as rain lashed windows, Riley finally down, we collapsed on the couch, wine forgotten. "I miss us," she confessed, head on my lap, fingers tracing my thigh. The wild, the wanton. Heat stirred despite weariness. I tugged her up, straddling, our kiss deepening from tender to torrid, shirt shed, her mouth suckling where Riley had, drawing gasps that blurred lines of nurture and need. We reclaimed nights in increments, hiring a doula for date nights at jazz clubs, where bass lines thrummed like heartbeats, bodies swaying close, hands rediscovering curves softened by life. Sex evolved, slower, more sensory, her tongue mapping new landscapes, my hips guiding with whispered directions, climaxes quiet but profound, rippling through like aftershocks. Winter brought a curveball, my novel's acceptance, with a book tour slotted for spring, 10 cities, 2 weeks away. Elation warred with guilt. Emma's nod was steady, but her eyes betrayed the ache. "Go conquer. We'll hold the fort." Preparations consumed us. Packing readings, practicing Q&As, her helping polish blurbs between teething tantrums. Departure loomed like a storm front, our goodbye at the airport a tear-streaked clinch, Riley gurgling obliviously in her carrier. "Call every night," Emma demanded, voice thick, and I did, from hotel rooms in Chicago, recounting crowds to her husky replies, phone pressed between thighs for virtual touches that left us both breathless. The tour was a whirlwind, spotlights in indie bookstores, panels on queer narratives in contemporary fiction, fans clutching copies with stories mirroring ours, childhood friends turned lovers, defying odds. In New York, a signing line snaked long, one woman whispering, "Your book gave me courage to come out." Tears pricked. This was the value, ripples from our whisper expanding. But nights alone amplified longing. FaceTime glimpses of Emma's tired smiles, Riley's chubby waves, fueling hurried self-pleasures that paled against memory. Homecoming was rapture, bursting through the door to arms and squeals, Riley's arms outstretched, Emma's kiss devouring. "Missed your taste," she growled later, after Riley's bedtime, pushing me to the shower. Water cascading as fingers plunged, walls echoing cries, release a torrent matching the spray. We talked deep into night. Her firm's first big contract landed during my absence, a queer youth center rebrand. "We're unstoppable," she said, head on my chest, heartbeat syncing ours. Spring unfurled with Riley's first steps, wobbly toward Emma in the living room, my cheers a backdrop. We captured it on video for Ohio Kin, Mom's whoops crackling through speakers. Emma's parents visited then, tentative thaw, her dad bouncing Riley awkwardly, Mom cooing over toes, a shared meal where stories softened silences. "We're learning," her mother said quietly, hand on mine, a bridge built brick by painful brick. Summer swelled our world, family camping in the Olympics, tents pitched under pines, Riley's giggles amid esmores and stars. Nights zipped in sleeping bags, Emma's body heat a haven, her hand muffling moans as I rode her thigh, friction building to shudders that shook the canvas. Back home, my book's paperback run meant local buzz. Readings at our coffee shop, where patrons who'd watched our belly grow now applauded arcs from dark confessions to daylight families. Yet thriller elements lingered in subtler forms. A homophobic slur spray-painted on our firm's van during a heatwave, Emma's domain, rattled us. Police reports filed amid fury. We rallied. Community vigils, her leading workshops on resilience, me penning op-eds that went viral. In bed that night, anger transmuted to urgency, her strapping on for the first time, the harness a novelty that thrust deep, my nails digging crescents, release a roar of reclamation. Fall's harvest brought harvest of dreams. Emma's firm expanded, hiring a queer artist mentee. My sequel outline sold, weaving Riley-inspired threads. Holidays in Ohio shimmered with fuller tables. Emma's parents attending our commitment anniversary, toasts clinking to family redefined. Riley's toddler mischief, finger-painting walls, chasing ducks, filled days with chaos and charm. As winter circled again, 2 years post-Riley, we eyed expansion. A bigger place with a yard for swings, perhaps another child. One snowy eve, bundled on the balcony, cocoa steaming, Emma turned to me. From that night in the dark
To this.
worth every storm. I kissed her, snowflakes melting on lashes, our love a lighthouse, guiding not just us, but all who'd whisper truths in shadows, affirming that change, once embraced, crafts lives of enduring, humanistic light. 2-year-old Riley's laughter ricocheted off the kitchen cabinets like errant firecrackers, her chubby hands smearing yogurt across the high-chair tray in abstract masterpieces. Emma knelt beside her, feigning horror at the monsters emerging from the mess, her blonde hair tied in a hasty ponytail that bobbed with each exaggerated gasp. I leaned against the doorframe, coffee mug warming palms, heart swelling at the domestic tableau, this life we'd sculpted from whispers and wills. Papa Bear's gonna eat that blue one, Emma threatened, tickling Riley's foot until squeals dissolved into hiccups. Mornings like this anchored us amid the accelerating whirl. My sequel, Echoes of Us, hit shelves to warmer reviews, tour dates stacking like cordwood from LA to Boston. Emma's firm thrived, her role as creative director meaning boardroom battles and late strategy sessions, her return home often marked by takeout and tired grins. We'd mastered the juggle. Preschool drop-offs tag-teamed, date nights squeezed between nap schedules, movie marathons on the couch, her fingers tracing patterns on my arm that inevitably led to quiet couplings, careful not to wake the monitor's glow. But expansion beckoned with its double-edged promise. Over breakfast one crisp September morn, as leaves pirouette outside our window overlooking the park, Emma broached it. What if we tried for number 2? Her fork paused over pancakes, eyes searching mine with that mix of hope and hesitation I'd first seen in the storm-lit dark. We dove in with research-fueled zeal, fertility apps tracking cycles, donor selections revisited with Riley's dark curls in mind, wanting a sibling echo. Doctor visits confirmed green lights, and soon, the 2-week wait became our ritual of tension-tinged tenderness. Nights, we'd make love with intent, her body arching under mine, legs hooked over shoulders, the deliberate pace building to crescendos that left us slick and sated, whispers of grow with us breathed against skin. Negative tests stung like slaps, but Emma's hugs fortified, her voice steady. Our timeline, not the clocks. Autumn deepened, and with it, my tour launch. Airports blurred into hotel lobbies, readings where crowds dissected our story's arcs, how fiction mirrored the real thrill of Emma's confession, the drama of parental bridges. In San Francisco, a panel on queer family futures drew tears. A fan gifted Riley a stuffed swing set bear, its note reading for the next chapter. Homesick pangs hit hardest at night, FaceTimes capturing Emma's bedtime stories, Riley's yawns a lullaby. Hurry back, Emma urged, her post-bedtime call shifting sultry, descriptions of fingers circling, gasps sinking across miles, my hotel pillow muffling release. Return was reunion fire, scooping Riley spinning, then tumbling into bed with Emma once she slept, her nails raking urgency, my mouth devouring as if starved. "Mr. Storm," she panted, guiding me lower, thighs clamping as tongue worked magic. We collapsed entwined, plotting family expansions amid afterglow. Winter's grip loosened into spring revelations, a positive test, faint but fierce. Ultrasounds revealed a boy this time, his heartbeat a rapid drum. Joy cascaded, naming debates over dinner, Owen after Emma's childhood dog, nursery tweaks with train motifs. Pregnancy's glow amplified our intimacy, her hands splaying over my rounding belly during slow dances, kisses trailing to swollen folds, pleasure heightened by hormones, my cries sharper, her name a mantra. Emma's firm hit a milestone, national contract for a pride campaign, and celebration meant a gala in Seattle, tuxes and gowns, Riley with a sitter. We danced under chandeliers, her hand possessive at my waist, whispers promising later. Hotel suite became our playground, silk ties binding wrists, her teasing licks along bound arms, building to unbind frenzy where I claimed her atop, hips grinding victory. Dawn found us tangled, belly between us like a shared secret. Summer bloomed with Riley's preschool graduation, cap and gown comically tiny, her diploma, a crayon scrawl. Family flew in, mom doting, dad grilling burgers, Emma's parents arriving with cautious smiles, holding Owen's first kicks through my shirt. A grandson, her dad rumbled, voice gruff with uncharted emotion, a humanistic milestone, forgiveness unfolding petal by petal. Labor struck under solstice sun, contractions cresting like waves at high tide. Hospital halls echoed my groans, Emma's grip unyielding, Riley waiting with grandparents. Owen arrived slick and squalling, his cry harmonizing with Riley's excited babbles upon meeting. Homecoming layered our nest, 2 cribs side by side, nights a relay of rockings and rhymes. Balancing duo demands tested sinews. Sleepless stretches frayed tempers, mine snapping over spilled milk, Emma retreating to work calls with clipped tones. A blowout over tour rescheduling escalated. "I can't carry it all," she exploded one midnight, Owen fussing in arms. Hurt bloomed hot. I stormed the balcony, rain mingling with tears. She followed, apology in her approach, pulling me into rain-soaked embrace. "We're a team," she murmured, lips brushing temple. We made up under the downpour, clothes clinging, hands frantic, back to bed where touches soothed, bodies reaffirming unity in slow, healing rhythm. Fall's harvest included my sequels awards buzz, a lambda nod that packed our mailbox with fan mail. Readings now included Riley doodles on programs, Owen nursed backstage. Emma's campaign won accolades, her TEDx talk on branding belonging going viral, drawing queer creators to her door. Holidays swelled fuller. Ohio feasts with both sets of grandparents cooing over babes, toasts to bridges built. Riley's Santa letters demanded a swing for brother, prompting dad's workshop gift, a backyard set installed under Portland pines. Winter whispered of growth, therapy for parental scars, mine unpacking writer block guilt, Emma's voicing ambition fears. Sessions spilled into stronger bonds, date weekend sans kids, her strapping up for role reversals that left us quaking, laughter chasing ecstasy. As spring greened again, for years post-storm, we stood in our yard, swings creaking with Riley pushing Owen, Emma's arm around me. From one whisper, she said, kissing my temple, to this chorus. Our story, dramatic in depths, romantic in rises, meaningful in its mosaic, love as verb, enduring through tempests to teach that change's echo is legacy, sung in every heartbeat. Owen's gummy grin flashed toothless under the dappled shade of our backyard swing set, Riley's pushes gentle yet enthusiastic, her 5-year-old commands, higher, but not too high, baby bro. a bossy symphony. Emma lounged on the picnic blanket nearby, laptop balanced on knees, tweaking a pitch deck while stealing glances our way, her smile a quiet sunbeam cutting through the July haze. I snapped photos on my phone, capturing the tableau. Our family, forged in Ohio rain, thriving under Oregon skies, a testament to persistence's quiet power. Those halcyon days post-babies wove a tapestry of milestones. Riley started kindergarten, her backpack comically oversized, first day tears mine alone as Emma's pep talk, adventure awaits Sprout, saw her march in fearless. Owen's babble evolved to Mama for me, Mommy for Emma, the distinction a delight that sparked playful rivalries over who got the first hug. My writing career crested. The sequel's Lambda win meant agent deals for a trilogy, deadlines a thrilling tyranny balanced by Emma's firm's expansion, now a 7-person team, her office a rainbow flag hub for queer entrepreneurs. Intimacy thrived in pockets, stolen showers where water sluiced as fingers delved, her back to the tile, my mouth muffling moans. Lazy Sundays with kids napping, her head between thighs on sun-warmed sheets, tongues lazy laps building to shudders that shook the bed frame. We'd laugh post-climax over creaky protests, blame the house, not us, bodies entwined in sated sprawl. But life's drama simmered eternally. A cross-country book tour clashed with Emma's conference in Miami, stranding us in logistical limbo. Go, she urged over frantic calls. I'll fly solo with the circus. Yet guilt gnawed. I jetted east with laptop and longing, readings a blur of applause masking homesick haze. FaceTimes featured Riley's school art, Owen's wobbly walks, Emma's exhausted charisma. Nights, her voice guided solo symphonies, husky directives over lines, my gasps syncing with hers across time zones, release a bridge over distance. Reunion was electric. Airport sprint to arms, kids mobbing, then home where babysitter departed to parental frenzy, her pinning me to the door, skirt rucked, thrusts urgent against counter edge, cries stifled in necks. Never again without you. We panted, collapsing to carpet in laughter-laced afterglow. Fall brought Emma's curve, a keynote at a national queer business summit, her talk on visibility as velocity, earning standing ovations, media hits rippling. I attended incognito, pride swelling as she commanded the stage, our eyes locking mid-speech, a nod to the whisper that started it. Post-event gala, gowns swirling, we slipped to a balcony, her hand up my slit under silk, fingers curling secrets while city lights twinkled below, climax a silent storm. Winter holidays amplified kin ties, Ohio pilgrimage with kids in tow, flights a toddler tornado. Mom's tree glittered with new ornaments, Riley's handprints, Owen's bells, while Emma's parents hosted a tentative feast, her dad's carving knife steady, Mom's pie recipe shared with Riley's sticky fingers. Family's what we make, her father grunted over eggnog, a gruff evolution that warmed like heath fire. Spring unearthed roots, a call from my high school reunion committee, inviting success stories. We debated, ghost it or grace it. Emma voted confrontation. Show them the life we built. D-Day in Ohio. Gym transformed with balloons and bad punch. Classmates stares a mix of awe and envy. Sarah, my ex, approached with wine-flushed cheeks. You look
Happy.
really. Her hug lingered, a closure bittersweet. Emma's arm around me warded whispers, our exit hand in hand a statement etched in stares. Summer's heatwave tested home fronts. AC breakdown during a heat dome, kids cranky, tempers flaring over melted popsicles. I need space, Emma snapped after a spilled dinner debacle, retreating to the porch. I followed, rocking Owen in the glider. Riley conked out inside. Me too, I admitted, but not from us. Moonlit talk unraveled threads, workaholic drifts, parenting petitions. Resolution came in dawn's light. Weekly us, hours, no devices, just connection. Walks where hands swung, talks that deepened to park bench makeouts, homeward heat with kids at grandma's, her strap-on a tool of reclamation, positions playful yet piercing, unity forged in sweat. Fall's foliage framed my trilogy capstone. Legacies in Light, a novel closing Alana and Emma arcs with family fractals. Launch party at our local indie drew crowds, fans from Tour 1, workshop alums, Emma's team in Pride pins. Readings excerpted our swing set epilogue, tears flowing as Riley presented flowers, Owen gurgling applause. After, bookshop backroom. Emma's congrats kiss escalating, door locked, my dress hiked on desk edge, her mouth devouring, fingers and tongue a dual assault till I bucked, shelves rattling tomes. Winter whispered expansions, Riley's violin lessons screeching sonatas, Owen's potty triumphs celebrated with cake. Therapy evolved to couples enrichment, exploring fantasies, her dominant streak blooming in silk scarves and commands, my submissions yielding to bliss surrender. Aftercare cuddles a cocoon. As spring bloomed 5 years post-storm, we eyed a legacy project, a foundation funding queer youth writing retreats, Emma's branding arm handling logistics, my stories a seed. Groundbreaking under cherry blossoms, kids digging first dirt, mom toasting via video. From whispers to worlds. Emma pulled me aside, ring glinting beside mine. Wait. No. Our bands now etched with Riley and Owen's birthstones. Everything changed that night, she murmured, kiss ceiling, for the better, forever. Our tale, laced with thrill's edge and romance's glow, culminated in meaning. Love as catalyst, transforming dark confessions to daylight dynasties, humanistic in its ripple, whispering to shadows that light awaits, if dared. Riley's violin bow scraped a valiant rendition of Twinkle Twinkle, the notes wobbling like a fawn's first steps through our living room, Owen clapping pudgy hands from his perch on the rug, his 2-year-old enthusiasm a thunderous backbeat. Emma lounged against the piano, arms crossed in mock critique, but her grin betrayed adoration, the same one that had unraveled me in Ohio's gloom. Encore, maestro, she called, and Riley beamed, launching into a mangled, hot cross buns that dissolved us all into giggles. 6 years into our Portland chapter, life hummed a harmonious discord, my trilogy complete, agent nudging memoirs, Emma's firm a beacon, mentoring startups with equity stakes for underrepresented voices. Kids anchored the frenzy. Riley's school plays demanding costume couture, Owen's dinosaur obsessions fueling library halls. We'd honed our duet, shared calendars color-coded, weekends sacred for family forays, hikes where backpacks bulged with snacks, her hand in mine over root-tangled trails, pauses for kisses that left kids groaning, you moms. Intimacy evolved artfully. With school schedules, we'd master quickies, her cornering me in the laundry nook, hand over mouth as fingers plunged, washers spin masking gasps, or bath times turning steamy, her soaping my back, leading to straddles on tub edges, water sloshing symphonies to our crescendo. Date nights at oyster bars led to alleyway presses, skirts lifted against brick, thrill of semi-public pulse racing releases. Drama danced in unexpected steps. A memoir deal demanded dredging depths, Ohio archives for old letters, interviews with Sarah that unearthed lingering regrets. You were my safe harbor, she said over coffee in a neutral cafe, her life a tapestry of marriages and motherhood. Closure sweetened, but stirred Emma's rare jealousy flare. Was I just the upgrade? She probed that night, wine loosening tongues. Vulnerability cracked us open. I pulled her to bed, undressing slowly, mapping scars with lips, hers from appendix surgery, mine from births, whispers of only you culminating in 69 tangle, mouths and fingers a mutual vow, tastes mingling in ecstatic union. Summer solstice brought Emma's milestone, a feature in Forbes' 30 Under 40 Queers Reshaping Business, photographers swarming our home, kids hamming for lenses. Article dropped to acclaim, but trolls bayed, misogynist barbs questioning her agenda. She shrugged publicly, but privately crumbled, sobbing in my arms post-bedtime. Am I enough? Gut punch. I held her fierce, then guided hands to reclaim power, strapping her gently, roles reversed, my thrusts measured, her cries a catharsis, afterglow affirmations etching worth indelible. Fall foliage framed family evolution, Riley's questions blooming. Why do some kids have two dads? Prompting books and honesty circles, her acceptance a mirror to our path. Owen's preschool jitters eased with Emma's puppet shows, his artwork adorning fridge like gallery walls. Ohio visit coincided with town pride, first annual, rainbow crosswalks fresh painted. We marched with locals, kids on shoulders, Emma's parents waving awkwardly from sidelines, a step toward full embrace. Winter's Hush hosted my memoir launch, From Dark to Dawn, pages pulsing with our genesis, sales surging on pre-orders. Tour kicked off in blizzards yielding to blooms, crowds intimate in indie nooks. In D.C., a senator quoted my lines on policy panels. In Austin, a queer youth group gifted custom swings. Homesick hit softened by Emma's nightly check-ins, Riley's lost tooth tales, Owen's snowman disasters, escalating to erotic epistles, her reading fantasies that fueled solo flights, shared climaxes over speakers. Return heralded harvest, book club adoptions, speaking gigs doubling. Emma surprised with a vow renewal. Intimate, under our swing sets strung with lights, kids ring bearers in tiny tuxes. Vows renewed raw. Mine on enduring sparks, hers on chosen fires. Reception backyard bash devolved to dance floor romps, later bedroom blaze, guests gone. Her in garter remnants, me in veil tatters, bed a battlefield of bites and bucks, dawn's light gilding spent forms. Spring's thaw revealed fractures mended stronger. Emma's firm partnered with my foundation, retreats funded for scribbling teens, first cohort under pines, stories shared around campfires echoing ours. Riley attended as junior counselor, her poem on mom's magic slaying hearts. Summer scorched with adventure. Cross-country drive, retracing our escape route backward. Chicago pit stops for deep dish and deep talks, Nashville honky-donks twanging toddler tunes. Ohio detour, swing set reunion. Now creaky with time, Riley pushing ghosts while Emma and I stole porch kisses, her parents joining for barbecue. Conversations flowing freer, Owen's charm melting ices. Fall's equinox aligned with Owen's birthday bash, Dino-themed, backyard roars and cake smears. Memoir's audiobook dropped, my narration laced with emotion, Emma producing interludes of ambient rain, nod to origins. Holidays layered, Portland tree trimming with queer carolers, Ohio feasts where Emma's dad carved turkey with jokes, mom's cookies Riley's domain. Winter whispered legacies, Riley's school essay on my heroes, us, framed in glitter, teacher's note praising authenticity. Therapy shifted to legacy planning, wills, trusts but also dreams. A queer elder co-op Emma sketched, my stories archived for scholars. As 6 years crested, under harvest moon swings creaking lullabies, Emma drew me close, kids awed. That night changed trajectories. She breathed, lips brushing. To infinities. Kiss deepened, hands wandering familiar paths, love's drama distilled to essence, romantic in recurrence, thrilling in trust, meaningful in multiplication, whispers birthing worlds, enduring as stars. 7 years post that fateful thunder, Riley's school orchestra concert filled the auditorium with a cacophony of budding talent, her flute trilling tentative melodies amid the swell, Owen fidgeting beside us in his booster seat, whispering, "Sissy's a star," with wide-eyed awe. Emma's hand enveloped mine in the dim, thumb stroking knuckles in rhythmic reassurance, her presence a steady bass note under the chaos. Post-curtain call, bouquets in hand, we enveloped her in hugs amid flashing phones, the glow of pride illuminating faces flushed from applause. Life's score had crescendoed richly. My memoir's accolades paved a TED Talk invite, the power of midnight confessions, scripted in coffee-fueled nights, Emma's red pen edits sharpening edges. Delivery in Vancouver drew global streams. Ripple's landing book deals abroad, speaking circuits spanning continents. Her firm, now Emma Collective, anchored Portland's queer economy, board seats on arts councils, her vision empowering voices long sidelined. Family rhythms pulsed vital. Riley's soccer leagues demanding sideline cheers. Owen's art classes yielding finger-painted masterpieces we framed like Picasso's. Vacations veered ambitious. Yellowstone geysers erupting to kids' delight. Her and I stealing tented trysts under big skies. Sleeping bags muffling moans as stars wheeled overhead. Intimacy innovated. Anniversary getaways to hot springs, where steam-cloaked caresses, her fingers underwater, curling waves that crested silently, or home spa nights, oils slicking skins for massages morphing to mounts, slow grinds yielding symphonies of sighs. Yet octaves dipped dramatically when Emma's firm faced audit, tax discrepancies unearthed by a rogue ex-employee, headlines screaming queer biz in hot water. Stress etched her face, sleepless strategists in our living room, kids sensing the strain in hushed tones. "Mommy okay?" Riley asked, crayon pausing. I fielded with stories of superhero fixes, but nights, she'd collapse into me, tears hot on pillows. What if it crumbles? Vulnerability raw. I held her, then ignited, lips trailing spine, tongue dipping lower, her arch a surrender, release a purge of poisons, dawn finding resolve renewed. Crisis crested in courtrooms and closers. Pro bono lawyers rallied, community crowdfunding surged, truth vindicating with fines paid from solidarity. Emergence stronger. Emma's op-ed, resilience redefined, trended, firm Phoenix rising with expanded ethics training. We celebrated on the coast, clambakes and cliff walks, kids building sandcastles while we waded waist-deep, her hand teasing seams, pulling me behind rocks for knee-trembling trysts, salt-laced kisses, sealing survival. Spring's renewal synced with Riley's bat mitzvah planning. No, wait, our secular spin. A coming-of-age ceremony blending Jewish roots from Emma's grandma with queer rites, under oaks with readings from my books. Guests spanned coasts, mom officiating, dad toasting with Yiddish toasts, Emma's parents reciting adapted vows of support. Riley's speech, "My mom's taught me brave," Drew sniffles, Owen scattering petals like confetti. Summer's sizzle included my international jaunt, London readings in cozy pubs, Paris cafes, buzzing with translations. Jetlag bridged by Emma's care packages, Riley's drawings, Owen's voice memos, nights alive with audio erotica, her sultry narratives fueling transatlantic touches, climaxes crashing like waves on foreign shores. Fall foliage framed Emma's honor, Portland Businesswoman of the Year, gala gowns and glitz, kids in mini tuxes cheering from tables. Acceptance speech nodded our origins. A whisper in the dark birthed this. Eyes locking mine across the room. Later limo ride home, escalating to parted thighs, her fingers orchestra to gasps, city lights blurring ecstasy. Winter wove warmth, holiday cards from foundation ments, stories sparked by our seed. Riley's first crush, a classmate's shy note, prompted gentle guides, Owen's holiday play stealing scenes as Elf King. Ohio Yule with full embrace, Emma's dad stringing lights, mom's lacks a tradition now. As 7 years waxed, memoir sequel outlined. Echoes endure, weaving kids' arcs into ours. Therapy toasted growth, fantasies fleshed in workshops, her switch play blending dominance with devotion, silk and safe words crafting climaxes cathartic. Harvest Eve, swings idle under moon, kids tucked, Emma twirled me slow. Everything, still changing, she whispered, hands cupping, kiss igniting path to bed, undress ritual, bodies known as maps, love making a liturgy of licks and lunges, release a hallelujah. Our narrative, thrilling in trials, romantic in returns, profound in progeny, dark words birthing luminous lives, whispering eternally. Love transforms, timeless.